Hey guys, and welcome to another paranormal Q&A video. In this video I try to answer as many of your questions as I can in as much detail as possible, but I get so many questions every day that I just can't answer them all. So if I don't get to your question in this video, don't worry, I might get to it in the next one. If not, just drop it down in the comments and I'll answer it as soon as I can. So without further ado, let's jump into the first question. Squeaky asks, "Hi Michael, if given the chance, would you want your spirit to come back and check in with loved ones? Or would you be concerned you'd upset/freak them out?" Oh, without a doubt, I would definitely want to come back as a spirit. I mean, I've got so many family members that are like on both sides of the fence. You've got some out and out skeptics that just don't believe a word I say. They think I'm making all this up. And then you've got the other side of my family that they're a lot like me. They're after that validation. They're constantly seeking the next bit of evidence that just backs up their own beliefs, you know what I mean? And so for me to be able to come back as a spirit and to give everybody that validation and to convince the skeptics would just be amazing. So for me, there's no questioning it. I would definitely come back. Ian Nesbitt asks, "Hey buddy, do you think that spirits continue to acquire knowledge in the afterlife? I.e., with Anna passing away at the end of the 19th century, do you think she is aware of modern technology?" I think it's really hard to say because, I mean, there are a lot of people that just think that spirit, like a person when they die, they just remain locked in that frame of mind, the way they perceive the world, the memories that they have, like nothing changes, they are just stuck on a loop. And to a certain extent I agree, but I think there are two ends of the spectrum. I think you've got the residual hauntings that are, as I've described, just a loop of energy, nothing intelligent about it, it's just replaying events. But then on the other side of it, you've got the intelligent hauntings, the intelligent spirits that can manipulate devices. So when you're doing a spirit box session and you're asking for intelligent responses, the spirits that are coming through must be in some way aware of the technology, or at least they're learning it, they're able to manipulate it. So there's got to be an intelligence there for me. Like that's just my opinion. Some people will disagree, but I definitely think that they continue to learn. Zachary asks, "Does a spirit get scared when it sees a person? I've lived with a spirit and every time it manifests, it disappears." I don't think there is like an out and out rule that all spirits just get scared when they see a person. I think it very much depends on the way that particular spirit perceives the world, because we've had evidence in the past that some spirits see us as the spirits, you know what I mean? Like they think they're alive, they're kind of locked in that denial state. And so I guess if they were to see a person, then yeah, that would probably be scary. But the phenomena that you described where you've seen a manifestation and they always disappear, I think personally that is very much down to energy. I think it takes a lot of energy and like just the right environmental factors for a spirit to appear and to manifest like that. And so it's not something that can just be held continuously as they like. I know there are certain mediums and clairvoyants that say they can see spirits, and I think that's just like, that is so rare that they're able to continuously see it. I think for the normal human brain to perceive it, like I say, the factors just need to be right, and I think that's why it's always short-lived, not necessarily that they've seen you and got frightened and left, if you know what I mean. Kieran asks, "Have you ever had something happen while shooting a Q&A or similar video while not actively hunting?" Now this is a question I get asked all the time, almost on every Q&A, and to be honest I think it's very much down to just chance. I mean, the chances of it happening while shooting a 40-minute Q&A are so slim, and it's simply because the house isn't active all the time. Like I might post a video every 2 weeks of 30 seconds of activity, and that's because I've only managed to capture 30 seconds of activity. Like it's not active 24/7, like there's not always noises and things moving around. And so when I sit down to shoot a 40-minute Q&A, it's such a small percentage of time in the grand scheme of things that the chances of it happening at that moment, they're just slim. Now it has happened in the past. I've done a previous Q&A answering this question, and I showed some clips where there's been knocking or like footsteps outside. But because I'm sat shooting a Q&A and I'm not doing an investigation, my goal is to get through the Q&A. If anything big happened, yeah, I'd go investigate. But when it's just a knock here and there, I'll cut it out and just carry on with the Q&A because that's what I set out to do. So yeah, for me, it's just very much down to chance. The Leo asks, "What do you think of Huff Paranormal? Do you think his experiments are real?" Now Huff Paranormal is such a touchy subject. It baffles me, the bitter hatred some people have for the man. I really don't understand it. like, I follow Steve Huff. I am subscribed to his channel. I do watch his videos. And for anybody that doesn't know what Huff Paranormal is, it is Steve Huff's channel. And he works in ITC, you know, so spirit communication, spirit boxes, spirit apps, things like that. He uses like the Geo Box. He's got a couple of devices of his own, like the Wonder Box and the Portal and stuff, that are all about getting crystal clear communication. Like, I've used devices similar in the past, like my Spirit Box modulator with pretty much the same thing. Like, it's got a denoiser and a reverb pedal, and it uses them to try and clear up the communication. And so Steve Huff does this a lot, and he uses apps, and for whatever reason, I won't profess to know the ins and outs of it, but a lot of the paranormal community just do not like the man, and I don't understand it. They say his videos are fake. He uses reverb just to hide the fact that he's actually just layering audio and stuff, and I just think, who cares, really? I mean, if you think he's fake, then great, share your opinion, but like, some people are so passionate, like they genuinely attack the man and they threaten him, and it's so silly. Like, if you don't like somebody and you don't like what they're doing, just ignore them then. Just don't watch it. Like, it's such a simple solution, but for whatever reason, the internet it creates a lot of brave people that decide that they're gonna just really attack someone, and they get very personal, and I don't understand it. Don't get me wrong, I think every channel has its haters, but I do feel like Steve Huff genuinely gets a lot more than most, and I guess that comes with his popularity, because he is quite big in the ITC community, and I think maybe it's a bit of jealousy. Maybe they genuinely have their reasons, like they've seen things that just make them suspicious. And I mean, I'm all for it. It's like, if you have your opinions, and then stick to them. But I don't get the negativity behind it. For me, like I say, I don't go around calling people fake. I don't necessarily care. I follow his stuff because it's interesting. And to be honest, I would happily try a Portal or a Wonder Box. I would love to give it a go and see the kind of results I get out of it. So yeah, for me, I very much stay out of all these kinds of debates, but I'd definitely give it a watch. I'd check him out. It's worth your time to at least check it out. If you don't like it, then just leave it be. End of story. Kate asks, what are your views on pendulums to connect with spirits? Do you think it's just our energy moving it backwards and forwards? Now, I've never really used a pendulum, but in my opinion, I would put them into the same sort of category as something like dowsing rods or like a Ouija board, in that because there is a major human factor in their use, I couldn't put them forward as evidence without lots of external like devices to back it up. Just like, I've used dowsing rods in the past, and the slightest involuntary movement of your hands can cause them to sway. Even with handles, like, it has to be so controlled to make sure that there are no external factors affecting it, like the slightest air current could cause it to sway. And I think the same thing would apply to a pendulum. And maybe not the air current thing, but with a Ouija board, you've still got people in control. So yeah, I couldn't just watch a video of someone speaking on a Ouija board and go, my God, there was a spirit there, like, because there's no validation. Like, that person could just be waving it around. And it's not that I don't believe the person, but you've got to keep a healthy skepticism about these things. So I think they could definitely be used for spirit communication, and I would certainly say go for it. But like I say, I wouldn't personally put that forward as evidence unless I had loads of other sensors to back it up. Eduardo asks, hey Michael, what iOS app for EVP recording do you recommend? Personally, I'm an Android man. I've never really owned an iOS device, so I can't really recommend a specific recording app. But to be honest, I think it's more about the microphone's own sensitivity that will dictate what it hears. If I was to recommend anything, I would just say try to find the recording app that outputs at the highest bit rate. I mean, generally they're a standard now. You shouldn't really struggle with it. Any app should do. But the higher the bit rate, the more information that the final MP3 or the WAV file will hold. And so you're more likely to retain those like lower frequencies where the spirits are supposed to be speaking through. And so that's it for this week's Q&A, guys. I hope I answered your questions sufficiently and in enough detail. And as I said before, if I didn't get to your question in this video, don't worry, I might get to it in the next one. If not, just drop it down in the comments and I'll answer it as soon as I can. So thank you all so much for watching. And as always, I'll post any and all activity as and when I get it.